Here we're going to tie a little dry fly called the Yellow Sally. It's a small stone fly and they're bright yellow. First thing we're going to do is just get our thread started here, and we're going to take it all the way back to the bend of the hook. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a tiny bit of red ice dubbing. We're going to dub this as tight as we can onto the thread. I don't want this to be a shaggy piece of dubbing. I want it to be bound nice and tight to the thread, so you can use dubbing wax if that'll help you. And we're only going to put a short little piece on, about 1/2 inch. And all we're going to do is we're going to build up a little red kind of ball right at the back. There we go. Once we have that built, you can trim out any of the shag fibers if you have any. The next thing to do is to dub the body. And for that we're going to use some pale yellow or PMD colored Superfine dubbing. It's just a yellow dubbing. You could also use ice dub for the body as well. You can use a light olive ice dub or light yellow ice dubbing. What we're going to do here is just build up a little bit of a body. And these Yellow Sallies have a little bit bulkier body than, let's say, a mayfly. So I'm going to build just a little bit of a bulkier body. It's by no means thick or stout like a big stonefly, but it's definitely, there's more to them than a delicate little mayfly. So you can build up a little bit of a thicker body, but not too much. And we're only going to dub, I'd say that's about 2/3 of the way forward. Then we're going to stop. And then we're going to tie in our wing, which is just some bleached elk hair. We're going to put a generous clump, I'd say about half the diameter of a pencil, inside a hair stacker. And we're going to stack it so that the tips are nice and even. Then we're going to tie this wing in. The wing on a Yellow Sally just slightly overhangs the back of the fly, so I just measure it out. I do a couple of loose wraps, tighten down. I'm actually going to wrap through a few of these fibers. This will help keep it from rolling on me. Once I've got all those tied in, I'm just going to get in here and do a little trimming. And if that wing wants to roll on you, you can just bind through a couple more of those cut butt ends, and that'll help keep it from rolling from side to side. Still rolling on me, so I'm just gonna put it back up into place. Just go through all those butt ends. That'll help keep it from rolling from side to side, and you can even put a little dab of head cement on them at this point. And that will help keep them from rolling as well. Now if you have a few butt ends that got trapped in there, I just get in there with my Hackle pliers. Just clamp onto them and you can pull them right out. I don't know how they get in there. They always seem to get in there when I stack some hair. But I definitely always pull those out. It's just you don't have to, but just a habit. Just clean up that head a little bit. Now the next thing to do is to tie in our hackle. You could use a few different hackles for this. You can use cream, you can use brown. I'm going to use a dark bar ginger. It's kind of a mix between brown and grizzly and has some cream kind of hints to it. It's really one of the perfect feathers for a yellow Sally. I'm just going to use a whiting rooster cape feather. We're just going to tie that in. And we're going to build up the head. For that we're just going to use, again, Superfine dubbing. In that PMD color. And we're just going to cover up all our thread and give our hackle a good base to wrap on. And we're going to take our thread all the way up to the eye. And we're going to take that dark bar ginger feather, we're going to do a wrap right in front of our wing. And we're going to wrap forward, and I'm going to slightly space out my wraps. I'm not going to put them right next to each other. I'm going to just barely space them out. This fly is meant to be tied a little sparser. They don't have a lot of legs on the natural fly. So you use the hackle just to kind of give it enough to ride on the surface and a hint of legs. And you can trim out your hackle feather. Trim out any fibers that got trapped. And then we can whip finish. Trim out any of the fibers that you may have trapped when you whip finished. And if your butt got a little bit scraggly there, you can trim out any of those fibers. Sometimes when you're handling it, they tend to get a little messy. I like to pull that wing up. I like that wing to be real nice and apparent. And that's all there is to just a basic little yellow Sally dry fly. You can find all the materials along with more of the recipe information at intheriffle.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, there is a link in the description that you can follow to our website for all the recipe information and materials information. That is the little yellow Sally dry fly.